Okay.
Excellent.
Brady can't make it because it's super hot in Ohio.
It's super hot here. The sun has gone down and it is still 90 degrees.
Oh, you don't even know. But she doesn't have air conditioning, so
yeah, that's rough.
She wouldn't be able to do the show without too much, like running a fan in front of her face, and it's just too much. So
it's unpleasant. I've got air conditioning. It's still like high 70s.
Yeah. So it's just us. And I found out like an hour ago that something I posted on the Sqrpt group on Facebook, like, I don't even know when it was. It was like yesterday, or I think it was yesterday.
Are you spreading misinformation, Alan?
Alan Andrews' post goes against our community standards on sexual exploitation of adults. And I had no clue about what it might be. I couldn't even.
That's right, because they remove it and they don't like tell you.
They don't tell you what it was. And finally, somebody commented that they didn't see my post about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Funny that
again, yeah. So apparently, Hunter Biden's a story from a mainstream. It was from a mainstream news. I think it was the Daily Mail. I forget who it was, but anyway, it was an actual story in an actual newspaper.
It was either the Daily Mail or the New York Post, because those are the only ones that are covering it.
Right. And so suddenly Facebook decides that an article in one of those prestigious newspapers violates their standards on sexual exploitation of adults. Now, who did the sexual exploiting? Hunter Biden, maybe?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
More than likely.
But, yet again, it's social media trying to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop.
Which,
story.
Again, Streisand effect.
Right.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
This is not blatant product placement. It's just coincidence. I do not receive anything. Who is this? Pepsi? Who does this? I don't even know. Oh shit, that writing is way too small. I don't know. No, if I take my contacts out, I can still read everything.
Yeah. I used to be able to read like this close to my eye, and then I had LASIK, and suddenly I can't read anything that's like closer than here.
A LASIK. So you had someone shine a laser into your eyeball.
Yeah. It was freakish because you could like smell like, is that burning meat I smell?
It smells like barbecued dog hair.
That's my eyeball. It's my eyeball cooking.
I hit your cornea.
Yeah. It was actually kind of freakish, the process, because when I did it, this was back in 2000. So it wasn't new, but it wasn't like they have it today. And they basically slice the top of your cornea off, and then they zap it with the lasers, and then they fold it back down.
How has that held up over the years?
It's actually not bad. I had like 2,800. I was horribly nearsighted. I was debilitatively nearsighted. I mean, without my glasses, I couldn't see anything further away than, a foot away from. I was like, if arm's length stuff was blurry, and I had to wear contacts or glasses just to be able to function.
Did you have the glasses you could fry ants with because they're like this thick?
Yeah, they were pretty thick. Contacts were a lot better than the glasses, obviously. But so I had the LASIK done, but I still have 20/20 vision. The problem is I also have astigmatism. So I see like uncorrected. I see like out of this eye, I see like two perfectly in focus things. So
like, if you got a mirror, could you see around corners? So like,
yeah. So I do, and it's worse at night, of course. I don't need glasses to drive, but I still, like, at night, sometimes I wear them just because it makes the it corrects for the astigmatism and limits the number of lights I see all at one time. So,
Alan, do you
Jay.
have blue blockers?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Late 90s infomercials at 2
Yeah,
in the morning.
I never bought into that stuff. You know, whatever. So anyway, I my post went against the community standards.
Community standards, yes.
It's like, which is funny because, I mean, come on, does Facebook really have community standards?
Well, they do for one certain group of people.
Right.
You know, it's very clear where the bias is. And, you know, the funny thing is going to be that eventually the pendulum is going to swing. It's going to swing back. It has happened over and over and over. And when it does, and all of a sudden they're getting dinged and people start looking into, hey, wait a minute, you are no longer, you are a publisher, not a platform, because you've been censoring content.
Right.
And you've been pretty uniform on which side of the political spectrum you're censoring. So you're a publisher. And now there's different rules. You're liable for whatever the people that you allow to post.
Or what I expect will happen is Facebook will get MySpaced by something else.
We can only hope.
You know, that's what always happens, right?
I'd rather keep Facebook and get rid of Twitter, but that's
you and me both.
Yeah,
Twitter's a cesspool. I actually deleted my Twitter account years ago, and
I have never had one.
I don't miss it. Occasionally I'll look at stuff on Twitter, but I do it like through the browser, and I just go to
It's interesting to see like what the latest, outrage is, or what the latest bot fantasy is. You'll see like the same exact tweet 15 times, and again, there's always a certain bent to them,
right? And the trending. What's funny is when the trending posts don't match the actual deluge of posts about a particular subject.
Yes.
If that particular subject is not convenient for Twitter, they'll just completely fucking ignore it.
Yeah. Which
like it's not even there.
Which tells me they have people or an algorithm designed to root around certain things.
Well, they're practicing they're editorializing the content, which brings it back to what you just said. They're gonna get nailed for being publishers.
Yep.
That's I'm not a lawyer, but I don't see. I mean, the safe harbor for Section 230 precludes editing content.
Right. And well,
to my now I know, the law is not logical and doesn't make sense, but to my lay thinking that, if you're editorializing, if you're editing the content and picking what gets published and what doesn't get published, you're not a common carrier.
And you're
not
responsible for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Verizon is not responsible if I pick up the phone and call someone and threaten them.
Right.
They don't do anything on that end. But if I'm trying to think, if I were to post a threat, now it kind of falls apart because I can't think of an analogy, but well,
it doesn't matter. They're editing content. They're acting as an editor, which means they don't fall under the,
The best thing would be competition, which they very conveniently throttle.
Yeah.
Parler.
Boy, wasn't that a...
Yeah. Well, if you don't like it, just start your own service. Oh, you started your own service? Hold on. We're going to have Apple kick you off the Apple store.
Right.
And Android will kick you off or Samsung will kick you off the Android store. So that you can't be added to the two most popular forms of communication.
Right.
But other than that, it's totally fine. It's totally free market. You notice that there's one side that shits on the free market until it suits them.
Right.
And then
The
all
free
of a sudden,
market. Free market doesn't matter at all until suddenly
until we
it's
can
what they
shut
want.
down. Yeah.
Oh, free market. What do you mean? Yeah.
There's no other news going on this week, is there?
Oh my God. That's why I said this is going to get, and it's kind of a shame because I mean, we don't get a lot of YouTube viewers. I mean, let's face it, we're small fries, but it's entirely possible this video won't last the night once it gets uploaded to YouTube.
Well, just because, we're talking about Andrew Cuomo.
Among other things.
Among other things, yeah. I do want to discuss that quote I put up too about.
Oh yeah,
that's
the one that's going to get us nailed.
That's been gnawing. Yeah.
Yeah, but let's do the Cuomo thing.
I don't suppose we'll ever know, but somebody had something big on Andrew Cuomo because
to get him to quit.
We have.
That was a shock. We both predicted that he would never quit.
I mean, between, Ralph Northam,
right.
Who else? There, Bill Clinton, Northam. I mean, even Joe Biden and Tara Reid. That kind of went poof.
Went totally away.
And not only is Cuomo. He's got the name recognition. He has something like an $18 million war chest.
I can't even remember the last Democrat that actually willingly resigned over something.
Al Franken. Al Franken got nailed for the Me Too.
Yeah, but he wishes he hadn't resigned.
He's regretting it, and he's talking about getting back in.
Right.
Which is very interesting. But, you say what you will, Al Franken did resign. Now, he was under pressure, and, he's not a terrifically popular anything, but
no, he wasn't.
But other than that,
I'm sure there have been.
I mean, there have been several governors of Illinois that have gone to jail, and Massachusetts speakers of the House that went to jail. But
I would say, New York's lost so many. This is
yep.
I forget the count, but this is there's between governors and senators and Congress critters getting hauled off to jail out of New York City. It's making Chicago sit back and go, glad we're not New York.
Chicago's like, it's your turn.
Yeah. I mean,
your turn.
Damn, you're right though. So they must have something really vile on him.
Big, because he could have just sat it out. I mean, this is a guy that not even a year ago he got an Emmy for the way he led New York. While the rest of us are going, he stuffed COVID patients in nursing homes. He's responsible for thousands of deaths.
Yeah.
And they're lionizing this dude.
Yep.
Governor Party Tits, because he shows up and you can see his pierced nipples. I mean, that should have right there should have been. Dude's what, in his 60s? I'm like, it's time to grow the fuck up.
Yeah. That's the big question is, what
was it?
What was it that got him to resign?
It's not just being touchy-feely with a handful of staffers.
Right.
That's a dirtbag thing. And by the way, Andrew Cuomo, fuck you. I'm Italian. Fuck you. Plain and simple,
Yeah, that was, and his whole apology bullshit, which,
I'm sorry that some people think this is for legit.
I touch everyone. I kiss everyone. Well, dude, come on.
That hasn't been acceptable since, Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah.
That's 30 years, almost 30 years. Well, not Monica Lewinsky, but Bill Clinton, the bimbo eruptions in 92, for Christ's sake.
Right.
That's 29 years. That's damn close to 3 decades.
Yeah, because somebody must have come up with some really good dirt on him, because he trotted out that whole, I want to spare the state from a long drawn out.
Yes.
Bullshit. You
That
want to
was-
spare yourself from
That
what
was-
comes
you were
out.
You were going to be impeached and arrested.
Yeah.
You were they might take your daddy's name off the damn bridge for this.
Yeah.
You know, that was, I wonder what they have, because it's got to be very clear video.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be big. It's got to
be
be
somebody arranged to record something, and it is egregious to the point of, if it got out, it would be, Cuomo would be looking at bars.
Yep.
You know, and we'll never know. And I think too that this allows him to fade into the woodwork and come back in a few years as a consultant in the background.
Right.
And then maybe in 2028 he, runs for president. Would not surprise me in the least.
Yeah, they'll whitewash his background, and
he'll
be able to say, "Well, I was never convicted of any of that. It was all investigated, ancient history." Come on, blah blah blah.
Spared the state the cost of a partisan witch hunt, because they can do that. The fact that it was started by a Democrat won't matter.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it was started by a Democrat who is interested in the position that Cuomo currently holds.
Right.
Oh, there's no conflict there.
None whatsoever.
But,
the big question is how long CNN will keep Frito on.
That is an interesting question.
Because the only reason he has a job at CNN, I mean, let's face it, he has no talent himself. Zero. The only reason he's at CNN.
I'm not stupid. Like they say, I'm smart.
Yeah.
That's The Godfather, folks. Kids, ask your parents.
Yeah. Go watch it. It's a good movie.
But don't look for Godfather 3. It never happened. Much like Ghostbusters 2 or Blues Brothers 2000. It never happened.
The new Ghostbusters looks interesting, though.
Yes. I will. But again, I'll go back to, you're giving me a reason. This is not, we're going to make it again, or we're going to swap the genders. Oh, boy, that's so original.
It's what is it? They found the stuff that Egon hid or something like that.
Moved out to the Midwest with his daughter, and her daughter grew up there, and they have a kid.
Right.
Well, she has 2 kids now.
And then
it's like, I'm kind of like, the numbers don't really match up, but because assuming that, Egon would have had the daughter, the mom. She would have had to have been at least a child during the time of the original Ghostbusters. So she would have been born late 70s to have 2 teenage kids.
Maybe she was. Maybe he was divorced at the Ghost. They never really talked about his personal life in the Ghostbusters movie. Maybe they'll kind of like do a tiny little retcon and say, yeah, he was married before or something like that. And
that's true. They really only got into Bill Murray because it was the Sigourney Weaver tie-in.
Right.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Yeah. I am actually interested to see that movie.
But I like how they did it. It's like, and I go back to the reboot of National Lampoon's Vacation. They have the son. They have Rusty decides to recreate the car trip that he took as a kid. And I get that. I'm like, see, you don't.
That makes sense.
You don't need much of a pretense,
right?
But don't just like, we're going to remake it. We're going to remake Total Recall. Only we're not going to have anything about Mars.
Oh God!
What? You're just trading on the name.
Yeah,
you're just trading on the name. It's
Well, that's what Hollywood does.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to give the Joker a new backstory. No.
You know what's funny though? I did watch the latest Suicide Squad.
I saw the other one with Will Smith, which, again, I'm not big on the comics. I thought it was fun. It held my attention on the plane. So
the latest, the one from this year, the latest Suicide Squad, was actually pretty good. Not a single piece of woke anywhere in it, as far as I could tell.
Interesting.
It was a straight up superhero, style.
Yeah.
Pretty well written, good action scenes. It wasn't The Godfather.
Yeah, but you don't expect it to be.
Right. But it was a comic book movie, but it was pretty good and no woke. So I think, I think maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, Hollywood is
Yeah.
starting to learn their lesson about,
Nobody,
especially after the Black Widow fiasco.
yeah, nobody wants to go to the movies to be preached at for 2 hours. You want to go to the movies to escape
Right.
the nitpicky bullshit. And
Yep.
It's look, you can have strong female characters. We like strong female characters, but damn
Sure.
it, write them well.
Yeah.
Ripley.
Right.
We
Classic.
don't have strong female characters. Fuck you. Ripley's from what, 79?
Jesus, Tank Girl.
Yeah.
Come on.
You do, but the problem is most of the time it's like, look, we have a strong female lead.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's fuck it up.
What do? We have a strong female lead. Okay, and did you see a strong female lead? You don't you don't love the movie because you're a misogynist. Well,
Right.
fuck you. It's that whole. It's not enough to be against racism. You have to be anti-racist.
Right. It's a shitty movie with a shitty plot and horrible acting and terrible directing. And if you don't like it, it's because of the strong female lead.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
And you're an awful piece of shit for not liking it. So fuck you. Yeah.
Why won't you cousin humping rednecks watch our movies?
Right.
That show how awful we think you are.
Right.
Yeah. And some of it's like, the Mad Max movie. That I actually liked it. I thought it was good. It was a Mad Max movie.
Sure.
It's a lot like James Bond.
Right.
You know what you're getting going in.
Exactly.
It wasn't quite Thunderdome bad, but I actually thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, I really did. And I really do think that the controversy, they have a female Mad Max, was totally drummed up just to get a buzz going.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it, is that you can do that, because it was like you watch it and you're like, no, it wasn't. There was no, message. It wasn't that all men are bad, so the women are
right.
going to, it was just Charlize Theron. Okay.
Yep.
I'm like, I don't. And they were really cool cars.
I'm a big fan of Charlize Theron.
African American.
Theron.
Although I don't know if she actually is a citizen.
I don't care.
Well, I just she's not an African American if she didn't
I don't care. I may be more African American than she is. I still don't care.
I got revised results and I'm only 3.3% African now.
Really?
Apparently it's gone down.
Shit. I have to check.
Yeah,
my latest.
I got some notice from 23andMe that was like, check how your DNA affects your sweet and salty, and I'm like, what the hell is this hot mess?
Yeah. So what am I?
When I'm like 94% Italian, 3%.
No, I'm still 1% African.
So I'm 3 times as African as you, Alan.
Yeah. Well, you're, Italy.
It's Mediterranean. It's all. Yeah. That's like the parts that aren't Italian are Greek and what was Iberian.
Well, yeah, you got that. Plus, you got that whole Bronze Age mix master thing going on in the Mediterranean. So
yeah, it's like it's all just one big happy,
just
motion.
A big churny mess in the whole place.
Them Moors did so much fucking, they polluted the bloodline.
Yes, they did.
Oh goodness, Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken.
Oh man.
Why don't we get movies like that anymore?
I don't know.
Reservoir Dogs.
Because Hollywood has to bow to the Chinese for everything now.
Yeah, that's true. Although there wasn't much of anything Chinese, but I think they need to. They've got LeBron James in the new Space Jam movie.
I didn't watch it.
I saw the ad. That's all I saw.
I have no interest.
I think you're going back. I think we need to start a pool on how long before Fredo is very quietly shown that before Fredo is shot in the back of the head.
Oh, I bet he doesn't last the rest of the year. Before January 1st, I bet he's gone. because there's no reason for him to be there.
Right.
His show's awful. His ratings are terrible.
And
He's
he
an
no longer
idiot.
has the access.
Right. He doesn't have access to his brother anymore, where he does, but who cares? Because he's not the governor. So,
So
yeah.
I wonder if Cuomo's going to run for Senate.
It'll be like that. Remember the Chelsea TV show?
All what, 3 weeks of it?
And how long did that last? Because she was awful and
Yeah,
nobody liked it. And yeah. And that's back when CNN, when their ratings were a lot better.
Yeah.
So
she got what, $600,000 a year for that,
Yeah, something
and
ridiculous.
Let's see. Who else has gotten incredibly rich on books and other? Barack Obama, who recently had a birthday party.
Yeah.
You like that segue, Alan?
That's
that a good
good.
segue? You
That's
like
very
that?
good. And that county, apparently, I read a thing that said that county in Martha's Vineyard's like the only red spot for COVID in the whole county or in the whole state. That one spot,
which is humorous, but and again, something that we have said all along, something we have not changed, which is we'll start taking it seriously when the people who tell us to take it seriously act like it should be taken seriously. We saw the slew of mayors and governors and senators and whatnot who were saying, don't travel, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. And then flying across the country to have Thanksgiving with their families and flying to Mexico. And of course, they made a big deal about Ted Cruz in Cancun. That's the one that made the news when he wasn't one of the people saying don't travel.
Yeah, he never was.
But he's a potential threat. He must be destroyed. Much like, another segue, Ron DeSantis, who is now, according to CNN, worse than Trump.
Yeah, that's funny how they moved the title to the next.
Oh yeah. Well, it's all about who's the threat, who's a potential threat in 24.
Right.
Because we don't even know who's going to be running in 24. I mean, Biden thinks he's going to be running, but Biden also claims to have driven a Mack truck and to have been a lifeguard where kids ran their hands up and down his hairy legs. So Biden,
Biden doesn't even know he was a presidential candidate in 2020. I'm not even sure he knows he's president.
He's not even listening to the Secret Service handlers anymore. He's just kind of wandering
around wherever he wants to go.
They have to put a collar on.
That guy, that was funny. That guy was pointing, go this way, go this way, go this way, and he just kind of trundled along, following him, just like a duck. Just.
Well, it's hard to keep up when he gets into that old man run.
Doing his old man walk. Jesus.
But gas is between $3 and $4 a gallon. But are you all right?
No, I got a cat hair in my eye or something. You know how it is.
No, I don't. But don't have cat hair.
Yeah.
But yep. So, but again, getting back, we're bouncing all over the place.
I know.
Going back to Barack Obama, that was a double hypocritical whammy for me, because Barack Obama has bought into the global warming, right? I mean, he's been big about, we have to stop climate change, we have to do this, we have to do that. And yet he bought a $15 million compound on Martha's Vineyard, which is a very small island.
And his compound's not only that, but it's right on the ocean.
Oh yeah. If you honestly believe that the ice caps are going to melt and sea levels are going to rise and it's going to swamp New York City like Al Gore claimed back in 2006, how'd that work out? You wouldn't be dropping 15 mil on a Martha's Vineyard compound.
No.
So again, I'll believe it's an issue when the people who tell me it's an issue start acting like it's an issue.
Yep.
And much like we discussed a few weeks back, California banning certain video game platforms because they use too much power.
Oh yeah.
And my response was, tell me you're not serious about electric cars without saying you're not serious about electric
Right.
cars.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is our electric grid is so fragile that we can't have people buying these powerful computers, but you want everyone in the fucking state to plug their car in.
Yeah.
How's that going to work again? A
It's
small number of people buying powerful computers will crash the system. Every single person in California driving an electric car, no problem.
Yep.
You know, it's the sweating superhero. Computer games, electric cars.
We used to laugh at Democrats not being able to, comprehend second and third order effects. Sometimes I'm not even sure they can understand first order effects.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly. Their first order solutions to problems don't even make sense sometimes.
Well, no, they don't. But the whole thing is they don't have to because they get the media backing them up. I mean, right now, what's going on with the minimum wage and everything, and businesses can't find people, which they're not paying the minimum wage. They're paying well over the minimum wage.
Right.
And the Democrats are like, see, those businesses don't pay enough, so they can't find workers. No, you're paying people to stay home. No business can compete with that.
No, and it's not the and it's not the higher salary. It's like, even if it was 100% more, you'd still have people happy to sit at home because, if you say you get a job and you can make $50,000 a year going to work every day, and the government tells you, hey, we'll pay you $25,000 a year to sit on your ass at home and play Xbox.
Yeah.
Sure, some people will still want to go work. Right. But a whole lot of people will be perfectly happy sitting on their butts at home making $25,000 a year.
Especially, they don't have to pay rent.
Exactly. They don't have to pay rent.
That floors me because you've got these. What is it? BlackRock is one of the big ones.
BlackRock's the biggest.
Buying up all these properties because guess what? When you don't collect rent, you can't pay your mortgage. You can't pay your property tax. You can't. Repairs still have to be made.
Yep.
You've got a tenant, and their toilet blows up. You still have to pay a plumber to go fix it.
Yeah, the fact that they hadn't paid rent in over a year doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of these guys are they're cutting their losses. The landlords are like, well, I'm done. Guess I'm bankrupt. And these companies are coming in. These big companies are coming in, buying them up for pennies on the dollar. And they've got the resources to wait out the rent freeze.
Yeah, they'll just float another bond for 0.5%.
Yep.
And what do they care?
Congratulations. You just made a billionaire richer.
Yep.
Which, congratulations, Democrats, those billionaires you hate. Do you notice how recently it's only billionaires?
Oh, yeah.
They dropped millionaire pretty damn quick ever since Bernie hit the big M.
Well, it's also inflation. Millionaire ain't what it used to be.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
you got lots of millionaires that like live paycheck to paycheck, frankly. Especially in like New York and San Francisco and places like that. There's lots of people pulling down $1 million a year that live basically paycheck to paycheck. So, it's just the way it is.
Yeah, but still, it wasn't all that long ago that it was millionaires and billionaires.
Oh, yeah.
Millionaires and billionaires.
Well, that was before Bernie bought his third house and,
Yep. And the, leader of Black Lives Matter got her fourth mansion,
Right. Yep.
But, we can't talk about that because, you're racist. But what was so shall we go right to the third rail?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's just open that up. So I'm not going to name where I saw it, but I saw a comment on Facebook, and basically the meat of it was talking about this new wave of coronavirus, whatnot. And this was from a healthcare worker. So I'm going to take it on face value that this person really had been seeing an increase in cases and they were serious. Okay. The line that just made my blood run cold was, and I quote, "You do not have a right to spread a virus." I read that and I said to myself, and then I posted it, that is exactly the sentiment that leads to boxcars.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
exactly the sentiment that leads to boxcars. You know, and there's so many ways that, you know, again, I don't know this person. I don't know their political leanings. What I do know is if you're willing to throw out the fucking Constitution over a virus with a 99.8% survival rate.
I don't care if it's 10% survival. It doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly. But again, if this were the Black Death, I'd be like, boy, I'm still not keen on forcing people to get vaccinated. But the risk, the benefits do not outweigh the risk.
Well, here's the other problem is, and if you actually go to the CDC and YouTube, I'm actually quoting the CDC.
The CDC that you love.
And the World Health Organization and every fucking doctor in the known universe. Vaccines will not keep you from acquiring or spreading a virus.
Right. It just
I want to repeat that. A vaccine will not keep you from acquiring or spreading a virus. It may or may not help you avoid the worst of the symptoms.
Right. It's giving your body a boost.
It's basically, it primes your immune system to fight the virus should you
come in contact with it. Exactly.
But your body and everyone's body is a seething cesspool of viruses and bacteria that your immune system constantly keeps in check. And the minute your immune system is compromised, that's when you get sick. And, you know, we have these, you know, especially respiratory viruses, you know, the flu and the cold, which is a coronavirus. You know, these things come around year after year after year after year after year, and they mutate and they change, and you get them again or you don't get them, you know, and a lot of it depends on how healthy you are and, you know, your vitamin D levels and, you know, what do you have something else wrong with you that compromises your immune system and stuff like that. That's why people that do like when you get a transplant on something and you're on like immunosuppressant drugs, you basically have to live in a bubble.
Well, it's why HIV is so deadly.
Right, because it attacks your immune system directly.
Exactly. And it's, you people don't die of HIV. They die of everything else. Right. Because you can't fight it off.
Yeah, that was the freaky thing about HIV when they were trying to figure out what it was.
Right. Which, interestingly enough, is exactly my point. Imagine if Ronald Reagan had said, you don't have the right to spread this virus, talking about AIDS.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
actually, you know what? AIDS is why the ADA got boosted, because people were discriminating against AIDS, people that had AIDS, and the families of people who had AIDS. There were actually companies that would go, look, your kid has AIDS or something like that. You can't work here.
What was it? The boy, the Kokomo, Ryan something.
Yeah,
Ryan White.
Yeah, and so the ADA was strengthened to prevent discrimination, even on the perceived, if they think you might have, you know.
And we've come full circle to let's throw the Bill of Rights out the window because we've got this disease.
Well, I think I've watched a lot of YouTube lawyers, and the consensus seems to be that there's going to be, if they actually implement any sort of vaccine mandate or COVID passport or anything, or, you know, anything like that, they're going to be sued up one side and down the other. And especially businesses that are requiring it. Holy crap, they're opening themselves up for some legal.
Have they sued Andrew Cuomo? Because New York, if I'm not mistaken, is requiring.
There are actually several lawsuits in the works right now for that very thing. One of the most interesting ones is a disparate impact suit, because imagine this: in New York, African Americans are overwhelmingly more likely to not be vaccinated than any other group. So a vaccine passport requirement,
Right. It's racist on its
unfairly,
face.
right? It is. Yeah. So good luck with that one.
Oh, when special interest groups collide. Oh, next up.
I know it's fun.
But yeah, the whole you're right. You do not have the right to spread a virus. Well,
that's like saying you don't have the right to breathe because you're
exactly. It's well, but I mean, what can't you excuse?
right.
I mean, that's the whole thing is what can't you excuse in the
Right.
in the name of fighting this virus?
Literally anything. I mean, the CDC has already tried to take over the entire housing market.
That has been ignored.
And
even though it was ruled unconstitutional, it was like, oh, we don't care.
Right. And what's the really sickening part of that is everybody involved knows that it's unconstitutional and they don't give a shit. Right.
Yep. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to do anything. The media is certainly not picking it up.
No, they don't care.
They'd much rather talk about Trump playing cards or whatever the hell it is that they are propping up to keep Trump's name in the news.
I wonder, I put on my conspiracy hat and I'm thinking, BlackRock's buying up all these houses and properties and apartments and rentals and everything, right? I mean, they're buying them like crazy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've heard horrible stories of people trying to buy a house. It's almost impossible for a normal individual human to buy a house, even if they're trying to pay cash, because they'll get outbid by BlackRock or somebody trying to be BlackRock,
and
who rolls in and pays 30% more than the asking price or something,
or doesn't require a home inspection.
Right. Exactly.
Because if there's something wrong, they can fix it.
Right.
And they're not borrowing money to buy it.
They just don't give a shit. And so I'm thinking, so we got BlackRock and all these other big companies buying all this real estate, and we've got a moratorium on paying rent. Now we've already had, when the moratorium expired and it looked like everybody was going to start getting evicted, we had the screaming and crying in the press. Oh my God, you can't evict these people. Oh, you're so awful. All these people are going to they're going to lose their house. Oh, they're going to be out on the street. Oh, no. It's just one more little step to the government saying, oh, well, we'll pay that.
Yep, exactly. We'll just print more money.
And then BlackRock's sitting here going, yeah, pay us, bitches.
Yeah, exactly. And now they've got, because I wonder if they're buying an apartment building with, let's say, 10 units that hasn't paid rent. The government decides they're going to pay that. Do they all of a sudden get a windfall?
Absolutely.
If you got the cash to cover it, it's a hell of a deal.
So they're buying it at a discount.
Yep. Oh, yeah. You default on your mortgage, they sell it for whatever's left.
Right.
They just want to get their money back. They don't care.
Right. And then they get the windfall because when the government comes around to pay, when they wind up paying
it's the same tenants.
The rent, right. It's going to be all the back rent gets paid. Maybe it gets paid at a discount, but
maybe some of it gets paid to the old landlord or who knows.
No, it'll be paid to the owner. The old landlord's not the owner.
That's true. They'll have to sue them in small claims court.
Yeah. Those contracts, all rental contracts transfer to the new owner.
Yeah,
automatically. I've actually lived in apartments and houses and stuff where the ownership changes,
right.
And they bought the contract as well, so you still, you pay the new guy.
Yeah, but I do wonder how that works though. If you've got an outstanding debt, I would imagine that
it transfers. It transfers. They buy the debt too.
All right. Yeah. All I can say is I am so glad we sold our house in Massachusetts and didn't rent it.
Yeah.
Because that would be an absolute screaming nightmare.
Well, one of the things I've considered, because I own this house I'm in now, and I'm like, if I ever move, I'm not going to live here forever, but if I ever move, And, it's crossed the back of my mind, I own this place. Why can't I just rent it out, hire, pay a management company to handle it for me and just sit back and, collect a monthly.
Yep.
But now I'm thinking, well, fuck.
Nope.
That seems like a really bad business now.
Yeah. Yeah. And unless you're BlackRock,
Right.
it's really good business. But
Yeah.
It's funny how, and this is something I've noticed, certain billionaires are okay.
Sure.
All those new pharma billionaires, we love them because,
we love them now.
Well, yeah.
Just wait.
That's
the problem. That's the problem to selling out to socialists is there's a time limit.
Eventually the wolf gets you. Yeah.
Right. There's a time limit. You can go from an asset to a liability in no time flat. And then you get thrown under the,
you get rounded up in the undesirable camp, along with the unvaccinated people.
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I was just reading this thing earlier today about they're saying now like the Pfizer vaccine's only like 42% effective with this new variant and stuff. And I'm like, back last year, they said the FDA said that it had to be 50% effective to be approved as a vaccine.
Yep.
42% ain't 50. So, what are you going to do?
The science is settled, Alan. Come on.
No, I'm just saying, if it's only 42% effective, then it's no longer an approved vaccine. And that's under the emergency approval. It is still not been, approved.
That's because they haven't paid bribes for 10 years, but yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to think. I had a coworker whose theory is they're going to drag this out till next year.
Oh, of course they are.
They're dragging out till probably August, about this time next year.
They'll drag it out as long as they fucking can, Jay. And they'll do these cycles. It'll be on it. They'll let you out, and they're like, "Oh no, gotta be back. Oh, it's coming back around again."
Yep. It's the gamma variant. It's the epsilon variant.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's
then
the lambda variant.
Yeah, and then
there's all kinds of Greek letters we can throw at you.
Sure. This will be their strategy. Hey, it worked in 2020.
Yeah. They just got to get the
rinse and repeat.
I just again keep coming back to having to show an ID to vote is racist.
Right.
But having to have proof of vaccination, a medical record, to literally go anywhere is totally fine.
Well, not only do you have to have that medical record, Jay, but you have to have an ID proving you didn't steal it from somebody else.
Exactly. That's the funny part about the whole vaccination record is without an ID to prove that's you, it's worthless. Right. It is literally a piece of paper with your name, with a name handwritten on it.
And even if it's an app on your phone, how do they know it's you? It could be somebody else's phone. They don't know. They have to check your ID.
Could be someone else's pants. Yeah. But yeah,
sure.
Yeah, they need an ID.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's the left not being consistent, which is like, oh no, water is wet. But, the fact that, the Texas Democrats fled to Washington, spreading COVID everywhere as they did it, including, by the way, we haven't seen our vice president, have we?
No, not lately.
But ever since they left, and they left because they were going to pass some voting reform that required ID to vote. Or does Texas already require ID to vote?
Yeah, Texas does.
So what exactly was the big deal that they were fleeing to avoid voting on?
So they want to pass a law that cleans up a lot of the voting stuff. And it's really, the Democrats claim it's like some super onerous thing, but really their problem with it is it actually establishes some firm rules for elections that they must follow. Yeah. And they don't want to do that.
Oh God,
They
no.
want to be able to make it up as they go along on the local level. And the big problem with this bill is it doesn't allow counties and districts to make up their own rules as they go. And
So
that's what they want to be able to do.
you can't magically pause the counting of ballots at midnight and then
Right.
reopen
Yeah,
it 4
stuff
hours
like
later.
that. And they have it's like stuff about when you can open the polls and how long you can stay open and stuff
It's
like
all
that.
horribly racist. Oh,
Right.
my favorite was the one in Georgia when they were like, black people are going to be forced to wait in the sun for hours and you can't give them water. Oh my God. I'm like, has this ever happened in the history of anywhere? Can you give me one example where this has ever happened? You give me one person that had heat stroke waiting to vote.
No.
It has never happened.
Yeah. That's not even a thing.
That is less likely to happen than an actual hate crime.
Oh, you're going to love this, Jay. Headline.
Oh, God. Alan's already chortling.
You're going to die. Literally going to die. New studies suggest Lambda variant could be vaccine resistant.
What did I say? I called it. God. Yep, they're just.
Here's the thing. I got a clue. These people, especially these people writing these stories and stuff, they don't understand virology. They don't understand basic medicine.
Yeah.
The vaccine does not stop you from getting shit. The vaccine is not a magic pill that stops you from getting a disease or getting sick. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
It's not like, it's not like breathing Clorox or, it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not, like when you disinfect a surface or something, it kills 99.9% of the germs. Vaccines don't work that way.
It's not like some people are resistant to poison ivy.
Exactly.
They think that's what the vaccine is. It's like, poof, all of a sudden you've got a shield.
Right.
And no viruses can invade you.
It doesn't work that way.
No,
that's why I'm amused at how shocked everyone's been that the vaccinated people are still spreading COVID, because of course they are.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, no vaccine ever in the history of ever keeps you from contracting a virus or spreading it. It just doesn't. That's not how they work.
Helps you fight it more efficiently, effectively, and with minimum damage to your own body.
Right.
That's why.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And it's just it's ridiculous. They're talking. Plus, the guy that invented the mRNA vaccine specifically said that wholesale vaccination of the population actually helps the virus mutate.
Yep.
Because of its very nature, by not being 100% effective, it allows these mutations to spread, and it's just like the bacteria thing, like when you take a shitload of antibiotics and all of a sudden we have these strains of bacteria that are more resistant to
the MRSA
antibiotic now. And and viruses work the same way. That's why the flu shot, you get a flu shot and they're rolling the dice of whether the vaccine for the flu is going to be effective against this year's flu strain, because they don't know what it's going to be. So, and I want to point out, YouTube, we're not anti-vax. Talk to your doctor. If you think you need a vaccine, get a vaccine. It's up to you. It's up to you and your doctor.
Right.
All we're talking about is the established science as communicated by the CDC that you still have to, this stuff's not going away. It's going to be with us.
Right.
It's going to be like the cold. It's going to be with us forever.
Exactly.
Get used to it.
And people do die of the common cold.
Sure they do.
It's you get dehydrated, and if you're compromised, there's any number of things. It's life. None of us gets out of it alive.
Yep. Prior to COVID, flu killed thousands and thousands of people every year.
Well, maybe. We don't really know, do we?
No, we don't know.
Because they just kind of make shit up.
Yeah, they just guessed.
Well, we guess. Well, we've got 10,000 deaths we can't explain. The flu.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's just somebody balancing their checkbook at the end of the year by going,
Yeah.
yeah, that was party favors. Done.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. Let's go. Let's go get a beer.
Yeah, I donated that. Whatever.
Yeah. It's like it was flu. Done. There we go.
Yep.
That's
why there haven't been any flu cases in 2020 or 2021 so far.
Yep. And again, I'm starting to, it's getting to the point where this kind of came about, we first heard about it in February of 2020. Donald Trump left office in January of 2021. So that's 11 months.
Yep.
Joe Biden's been in office for 7 months now.
Yep.
It's coming up on, almost about the same amount of time.
Hey, Jay, I got a question.
Yes.
When do you think Biden's going to actually tell us what his plan for getting rid of COVID is? Because he told us he had a plan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Back during the debates, he told us he had a plan, and it was a great plan. It's a wonderful plan.
He told us that those people wouldn't have died. There wouldn't be that empty seat at the Thanksgiving table if he'd been president. He told us that.
Right.
And yet now we're talking about we're going back to phase 1 where we're all locked down.
Well, do you think because of the senile dementia, do you think he forgot? You think he forgot what his
plan was? I don't think he ever knew, Alan. I think whatever they pumped him full of to keep him awake during the debates just kept that stream going.
Probably made it worse.
But yeah. And what was that? Was one? Oh, we didn't even touch on the latest world news.
Oh,
we're about to see a Vietnam style.
Oh yeah, that's right.
From Afghanistan, because the Taliban is overrunning Afghanistan at a record pace, and they're about to take the capital.
They're actually
including the embassy.
They're working on evacuating the embassy right now.
I hope they got the helicopters going.
Yep.
And the interesting thing is, and I haven't heard it yet, but I guarantee you this is going to be Trump's fault.
Oh, sure.
And there will be absolutely no mention whatsoever that, oh, no, this is all Biden. Much like it was 9/11 was George Bush's fault.
Right.
Because even though it had very clearly, not only had it been planned well before Bush got the nomination, but they tried in Clinton's first term.
Yeah.
They attacked the World Trade Center in 93.
The truck bomb.
The truck bomb in the parking garage. They didn't realize just how tough the parking garages were.
Yeah. But, don't fuck with New York parking garages.
Yeah, apparently. They will literally withstand truck bombs. But, so this was a known thing. Like you knew that Islamic fundamentalists were trying to blow up buildings in New York for literally Bill Clinton's entire presidency. It was 93. That was the first year.
Yep.
September 11th, George Bush's fault.
Yep.
We heard coronavirus, every single death. Trump has blood on his hands. It's every single thing is his fault because apparently he failed to call out the National Guard to make people stay in their homes. That's the only thing I could think of. But Trump was personally responsible for every single death.
Well, he was also a horrible racist for stopping the airline flights from other countries.
And he also was anti-Asian and anti-Semitic.
Right.
But there's going to be absolutely no, acknowledgement that, oh yeah, by the way, a year ago, everything bad that happened was the president's fault. And now it's still that president's fault because, Trump.
Right. Well, that's how it works with Democrats. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's not their fault. It's something. It's always something else.
Barack Obama was blaming George Bush at the start of his second term.
Oh, he was blaming George Bush at the end of his second
term. It's
like,
dude. Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sure they'll be blaming Trump. But see, Trump only had one term. Bush had two. So, and while yes, Trump was president while we started to draw down from Afghanistan, but it wasn't a secret. It's not like it was like all of a sudden on January 20th, Trump was like, "We're pulling all troops out of Afghanistan. Surprise!" This wasn't George H.W. Bush invading Somalia right before Clinton took over. It was like,
Right.
what the hell are you giving this guy?
Yeah.
This was known and planned, and
Sure.
nobody saw the Taliban. But I'm absolutely sure it's Trump's fault. Now the big question is, are they going to Benghazi it? I don't think so, because I don't think there's anything of value politically at the U.S. Embassy in Afghanistan. I just don't.
It depends on whether they need a distraction from something, Jay.
They always need a distraction.
Depends on whether they need a distraction.
Because
if they need a casus belli to go bomb the shit out of somebody to distract from something in the domestic U.S., I don't know, like inflation or
but they've got COVID for that, Alan. They trot out the Lambda variant, the Epsilon variant,
the Zeta variant, the Zeta Alpha variant, the
Omega variant. They're going to bring Charlton Heston back.
That's right. It'll be Biden as Charlton Heston, and he'll go walking out in his wobbly little legs.
Biden could only do the 10,000-year-old man from Mel Brooks at this point.
No, he couldn't, because he's not that funny.
Yeah, no, he is, but not ha-ha funny.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I wonder if Cuomo was sniffing anyone.
Well, of course he was.
Yeah.
Who else? So they protected Cuomo until the preference cascade made him impossible to protect.
Right.
And so it's like, so who else are they protecting? So, it's always the everyone knows thing, right?
Yep.
Everyone knows.
Epstein, perfect example.
Everyone knows. And then suddenly it's like, oh my God.
Which, by the way,
this guy's a pervert.
It has been 2 years since Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, it has. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. I just saw that. It was the 2 year. I don't think it was today. I think it was like yesterday or the day before. But it was 2 year anniversary. I'm surprised Ghislaine's still alive. There's got to be some.
Got her dirt a lot more protected than
exactly. There's backups of backups that they don't know where to find, and that's what it is.
Epstein, I think Epstein didn't protect his material as well as he thought he did.
He thought he was too connected.
Right.
That nothing's going to happen to me. I'm too connected. Right. I know too many people. I can bring too many people down.
I think what's her name? I think she's got like a dead man switch or something. She's got,
and it's known.
Yeah.
It's no. If I mysteriously disappear,
right,
all of this is going to.
Oh no! If anything at all happens to me, I don't care what.
Yeah.
If I don't live to be a ripe old age of 150, this shit's coming out.
But it does kind of beg the question. Even if it did come out, the media just ignores it. It never happened.
Well, they're sure ignoring Hunter Biden. As hard as they can.
Exactly.
He's selling his art to Chinese investors.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, well, he doesn't know who they are, so it's fine. Oh, give me a fucking break.
Hunter should be allowed to pursue his interests. I'm like, Sammy the Bull Gravano wasn't that bold. I mean, come on. DB Cooper was like, God damn, that's brazen.
I know, it's crazy. It's
because they can. And it makes me wonder, are we at the point where, if Ghislaine were to release all this information implicated, because let's face it, if her information implicated, Ted Cruz and Ron DeSantis,
it'd be out.
And it would be the biggest news ever.
Right. It'd be out.
So we know who's going to be implicated there. It's going to be figures on the left. And if
the
CNN, MSNBC ignored it, and Facebook actively suppressed it, and Twitter banned people for posting it,
Well,
would anybody know?
Yeah, the interesting thing to me is the number of times the name John Roberts shows up in the flight logs.
Yeah. So
And everybody's like, well, that's not the Supreme Court John Roberts. And like, how many fucking John Robertses are there that Epstein, okay.
Yeah, that would have flown on.
Which John Roberts was it? And they're like, well, the dates don't match up. Like, give me a fucking break. Dates.
He's a dentist from Queens.
Jesus Christ.
No. That's John Roberts, the dentist. Come on. It probably is a John Roberts who's a dentist who's like, hey.
Yeah, but was he on the Lolita Express going to, statutory rape island? I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
I'm almost wondering if we're at the point where it wouldn't matter.
Oh, and Jay disappeared. We'll see if he comes back. We'll give it a minute or two. And if he doesn't come back, I'll, here he is. They tried to take you down, man. They tried to take you down.
No, it's like every week, it's like right around the hour point. It's like, you're done. Stomp.
Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, it is. It's right around an hour every week. Apparently, that's all my phone can take on StreamYard or something. But getting back to, I really do. I really am starting to wonder if, even if it were to come out, would it get out? They've made again.
Well, it's certainly not going to get out in the mainstream media,
right?
Unless it's convenient.
The fact that they found someone from Brett Kavanaugh's past 3.5 decades prior, but ignored Tara Reid with Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody knows. People are still, Brett Kavanaugh's a serial rapist.
Oh, yeah.
One person who was thoroughly discredited, who there was no corroborating evidence. The people she said were at the party were like, no, it didn't happen.
Right.
That was the only one making the multiple rape allegations. But Kavanaugh's a rapist. Meanwhile, we have documentation that something happened between Biden and Tara Reid, and that has completely and utterly disappeared from everything.
Right.
Well, Trump had 26 allegations. Yeah, and most of those allegations were Rando said 45 years ago Trump bumped against her.
Yep.
This week we had times, we had witnesses, but didn't matter.
Well, it didn't matter for Cuomo until suddenly it did.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like, there's more going on there.
Oh yeah, there's absolutely more. First, so there's two parts. One is, why now? Why are they trying to get rid of him?
Yep.
And the second thing is what are they using to get rid of him? Because the sexual assault, the sexual improper, workplace sexual harassment is pretty weak sauce. I mean, it was all workplace harassment kind of stuff. He touched me in a weird way. He kissed me. I mean, those things are bad. Don't get me wrong, but they're not like he raped me.
Right.
And there've been no accusations that I've seen that are like that. Right. There's lots of he's creepy and weird, and he did creepy weird shit.
Right.
And it all falls under like workplace sexual harassment, which is bad. It's bad enough, but for a Democrat, that's not going to be enough. It shouldn't have been enough for Cuomo.
Right.
So there's
not for the governor of New York from a powerful New York political family. Right.
Yeah, there's got to be something else. He wouldn't have resigned just for that.
They had more on him, and it was advantageous to get rid of him now.
Yeah.
And that's the $1 million question. And no one's ever we're never gonna know.
We might
because
someday.
Well, 20 years from now, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. We found out who Deep Throat was eventually. Some pissed off FBI guy. Imagine that.
Yeah, the
But
FBI, it comes back to the FBI, doesn't it?
Do we have more time? Shit, we're over an hour now because I was going to go off. I was going to go off on the FBI.
Fumbling, bumbling idiots.
Jesus Christ. Have they ever caught anybody they didn't set up?
They didn't set up, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Well, you know, they did manage to wait. No, they didn't. Just try to think. Let's see. They did that. No, nothing. So, well, they killed Dillinger, didn't they?
Did they?
Wasn't it the FBI that gunned down Dillinger?
Oh, Jesus. Now I have to look.
I know it wasn't Bonnie and Clyde. That was Frank Hamer. Probably mispronounced his name.
Wasn't it Treasury guys? Oh, no. It was a Charles Winstead, FBI agent.
Back in the day, we took care of gangsters the right way.
Yeah, that was that was a different time, Jim.
Yes, it was. And we're probably labeled as racist for even referring to, the I don't know, the early part of the 20th century. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do know we've had a show.
Yeah, we have. Do you have a show and tell, or do you want to just blow it off?
I'll at this point we'll save it for next week.
Okay.
So, but I think right about now the energy drink is going through me. So
there you go. Yeah, I hear you, man.
This is
All right.
Good time to say good night, folks, and we'll
Good
see
night.
you next week. Hopefully,
have a good weekend. Yep.
You too, Alan.
We'll be back.
All righty.
If I can find the end button.
I will refrain